History is filled with shadows. In these shadows, great figures often wait to be rediscovered. Mary Seacole is one such figure. For many years, her story was lost to the pages of time, a footnote in the grand narrative of the British Empire. She was a woman of mixed heritage, born in Jamaica, a place of vibrant culture and complex histories. Her life was a testament to resilience, a powerful story of a woman who refused to be defined by the prejudices of her era. She was a nurse, an entrepreneur, and a traveler. More than anything, she was a healer, whose compassion knew no borders and whose courage shone brightly on the battlefields of a distant war. Her journey from the Caribbean to the Crimea is a remarkable chapter in our shared history. Mary was born in Kingston, Jamaica, around 1805. Her father was a Scottish soldier, a man from a distant land. Her mother was a free Jamaican woman, a respected figure in her community. This was a Creole family, a blend of cultures, languages, and traditions. Her mother was a doctress, a healer who ran a boarding house for sick and convalescing soldiers. She practiced traditional Creole medicine, using local herbs and remedies passed down through generations. Young Mary watched her mother with wide eyes. She absorbed everything. She learned how to identify plants, how to mix poultices, and most importantly, how to care for the sick with kindness and a gentle hand. This was her first classroom, a place of healing and humanity. The world of colonial Jamaica was Mary's playground and her training ground. She was not just learning from her mother, she was experimenting on her own. She started by tending to her dolls, pretending they were her patients. Then, she moved on to pets, and soon, she was helping her mother with the human patients who came to their boarding house. She learned about fevers, about cholera, and about the many ailments that afflicted people in the tropical climate. She gained a deep, practical knowledge of nursing that no formal school in Europe could have taught her. Her skills were forged in the real world, dealing with real suffering. It was an education built on observation, practice, and an innate sense of empathy. Her identity as a mixed-race woman in a society structured by race was complex. While she was born free, she existed in a space between the white colonial elite and the enslaved black population. This position gave her a unique perspective. It taught her how to navigate different social worlds. It instilled in her a fierce independence and a determination to prove her worth based on her skills, not the color of her skin. Her early life in Jamaica was the foundation upon which her entire extraordinary life was built. It gave her the knowledge of a healer, the spirit of an entrepreneur, and the resilience of a survivor, preparing her for the incredible challenges that lay ahead. Mary Seacole was not a woman who stayed in one place. A powerful curiosity pulled her towards the horizon. She had a deep desire to see the world beyond Jamaica and to expand her knowledge of medicine. Her travels began within the Caribbean. She visited other islands, learning about different cultures and their unique approaches to healing. She eventually made her way to Central America, setting up a hotel in Panama. This was a place of transit, a crossroads for people heading to the California gold rush. It was also a place rife with disease. Here, Mary's skills were put to the ultimate test. She faced deadly outbreaks of cholera, a disease she knew well from her time in Jamaica. Her time in Panama was a crucible. It hardened her and sharpened her abilities. When a devastating cholera epidemic swept through the town of Cruces, she was one of the few people who knew how to respond effectively. While European-trained doctors were often helpless, Mary's practical knowledge of sanitation, hydration, and patient care saved countless lives. She was not just a nurse. She became a public health leader in a time of crisis. These experiences gave her immense confidence. They proved to her, and to those around her, that her methods worked. Her travels were not mere tourism. They were a form of advanced, self-directed medical education that prepared her for an even greater challenge. After her adventures in Panama, Mary traveled to London. She arrived in England with a wealth of experience and a reputation as a skilled healer. She was a businesswoman, a world traveler, and an expert in tropical diseases. It was at this time that news of the Crimean War began to fill the newspapers. Reports described horrific conditions, soldiers dying not just from battle wounds but from diseases like cholera and dysentery. The official nursing system was overwhelmed. Mary's conscience was stirred. She felt a powerful calling to help. These were the same soldiers she had cared for in her mother's boarding house in Jamaica. She knew she had the skills to make a difference. Her motivation was simple and pure: compassion. She saw a need and knew she could fill it. With a heart full of purpose, she approached the British War Office. She offered her services as an experienced nurse, presenting her credentials and letters of recommendation from high-ranking officers she had treated in the Caribbean and Panama. She believed her extensive experience with cholera and managing field hospitals would be invaluable. She was ready to serve her country and its soldiers. But the gatekeepers of the empire had other ideas. Mary was about to face a wall of prejudice that was colder and more formidable than any disease she had ever fought. Mary Seacole's application to join the official nursing contingent heading to the Crimea was rejected. Time and again she was turned away by the authorities, including by representatives of Florence Nightingale's organization. The reasons were never stated plainly, but the unspoken truth hung in the air. She was a woman of color in a society that judged people by their race and social standing. A self-taught, independent woman from the colonies did not fit their mold of a proper nurse. But Mary was not a person who accepted defeat. If the official system would not have her, she would create her own path. Her resolve only hardened. She decided that if she could not go as an official nurse, she would go as a sutler, a private vendor to the army. With her own money and resources, she sailed to the Crimea. It was a long and arduous journey into a war zone. Near the British camp outside Sevastopol, just a few miles from the front lines, she established her famous British hotel. This was no luxury establishment. It was a simple structure made from salvaged wood and iron, a haven of comfort and care in a landscape of mud and misery. The hotel served as a store, a restaurant, and most importantly, a clinic. Here, soldiers could find a warm meal, dry clothes, and a place to rest. But they also found medical care, delivered with a kindness and expertise that was often lacking in the overwhelmed military hospitals. At the British Hotel, Mary worked tirelessly. She cooked, cleaned, and tended to the sick and wounded. She dispensed medicines, dressed wounds, and offered comforting words. The soldiers, who came from all ranks of the army, quickly grew to love and respect her. They gave her the affectionate title, Mother Seacole. She was a maternal figure in a place of death and despair. She was known to ride her horse directly onto the battlefields, even while the fighting was still happening, carrying baskets of medicines, bandages, and food. She would move among the fallen, offering water to the thirsty and tending to the wounds of British, French, and even Russian soldiers without prejudice. Her bravery was legendary. She faced the same dangers as the soldiers, risking her life to bring comfort to others. During another deadly cholera outbreak in the camps, her knowledge once again proved superior to that of many army doctors. She understood the importance of hygiene and care, and her hotel became a beacon of health in a sea of sickness. Even Florence Nightingale, who initially represented the system that had rejected Mary, came to respect her work. She recognized the unique and vital role Mary played, acknowledging her skill and compassion. Mary Seacole had overcome every obstacle, racism, sexism, and bureaucratic indifference, to serve humanity on her own terms. When the Crimean War ended, Mary Seacole returned to England as a celebrated hero. The soldiers she had cared for never forgot her kindness. They sang her praises in the newspapers and on the streets of London. Yet, she was financially ruined. She had poured all her own resources into the British Hotel, and the sudden end of the war left her bankrupt. In a remarkable show of public support, prominent citizens and grateful veterans organized a grand fundraising gala to help her. This event recognized her immense contribution and showed the deep affection the British public and its soldiers held for Mother Seacole. She had earned their respect not through official channels, but through her actions. Despite this brief moment of fame, Mary Seacole's story began to fade from public memory after her death in 1881. For over a century, she was largely forgotten, overshadowed by the more officially sanctioned figure of Florence Nightingale. History, as it is often written, tends to favor the powerful and the well-connected. The story of a self-made mixed-race woman from Jamaica did not fit neatly into the heroic narratives of the Victorian era. Her pioneering work was allowed to slip into the shadows, a hidden history waiting for a new generation to find it. The rediscovery of her incredible autobiography, Wonderful Adventures of Mrs. Seacole in Many Lands, in the late 20th century, was a pivotal moment. Today, Mary Seacole is rightly being restored to her place as a pivotal figure in nursing and Black British history. Her story matters profoundly because it challenges us to look beyond the traditional accounts of the past. It reminds us that heroes come in all colors, from all backgrounds, and that courage and compassion are not confined to any single race or gender. She was a pioneer who broke down barriers. She demonstrated that one person's determination can make a monumental difference, even when faced with systemic prejudice. Her life is a powerful lesson in resilience and the importance of carving your own path when the established routes are closed to you. Remembering Mary Seacole is an act of historical justice. It enriches our understanding of the past and provides an inspiring role model for the present. Her legacy teaches us about the diverse contributions that have shaped our world. It encourages us to seek out the unsung heroes whose stories have been overlooked. Mary Seacole was more than a nurse. She was a force of nature, a woman of immense skill, courage, and humanity. Her life reminds us that the greatest acts of service often come from those who are simply unwilling to stand by when others are in need. Her spirit endures as a timeless example of what it means to truly care for others.